Good timing for this show. We're recording right after the Vikings consummated a trade for Adam Thielen. Some Viking fans might be interested in this news. Let's get to it here on the Viking Update Show. He's John Krawczynski from The Athletic. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. The Viking Update Show is presented to you by Giggly THC Beverages and Onyx Hunt. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
Scott for Aquarius Home Services. Summer is flying by and will be over before we know it. Don't waste it on repairs. From flickering lights to not-so-hot water heaters, let Aquarius take care of your to-do list. With $98 off any electrical or plumbing repair, we're ready to rescue your summer from household headaches so you can enjoy a worry-free home. Aquarius, local, trusted, and earning the right to be recommended. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com.
Hey, this is Randy Shaver. Along with Kevin Gorg, we host the show Fantasy Huddle on Talk North. Each week, we're going to break down the matchups for the NFL season and try to give you the best chance to win your fantasy football games each and every week. Join us for Fantasy Huddle on Talk North.
Well, let's get right to it. Minutes ago, the Vikings announced that they had, or actually, I guess it had been reported, let's put it the right way, that the Vikings have traded for Adam Thielen. Not only, obviously, it's a good move, and we'll talk about why it's a good move. What's surprising to me is that I think the Vikings got a really good deal on this. I thought they would have to overpay to get Thielen. They get him for what is, to me, a very reasonable price for somebody who will be your number 2 receiver on opening day and maybe your number 3 receiver later on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have to give Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah a lot of credit for the way that he has operated over this last week and a half or so as he's sort of jockeyed for position to amass assets and to build up enough capital so that they can make a trade like this and still feel good about it. And when you look at where the dust has settled on this trade, it looks like great value in terms of, the Vikings get Thielen, a conditional 7th round pick in 2026 and a 5th rounder in 2027. And they give the Panthers a 5th rounder in 2026 and a 4th rounder in 2027. So when you really look at it, it's essentially basically like a 4th rounder they have to give up for Adam Thielen. And given everything else that comes back to them, it just makes a lot of sense for the Vikings to do this. We have talked a little bit on this show, and we'll get into it today, but Thielen just checks so many boxes for this team in terms of being a guy who knows the offense, who has had success in this system, who has worked out with JJ McCarthy, has some sort of rapport with him. And so, in the early stages of the season, while you're waiting for Jordan Addison to come back from suspension, it's just hard to see them finding another scenario or another receiver who can fill in as capably and just get up to speed as quickly as Adam Thielen can. And to do it for the price tag that Kwesi was able to do it for, I mean, that's a heck of a job by him, working this all the way through and making sure that he got the guy that he really wanted.
We have more breaking news. NFL Network has hired Adam Thielen's wife as an insider reporter.
I mean, you knew that. It's funny that you mentioned it, but I remember maybe last week there was a Viking fan page that put something on the out there, just something about bring Adam Thielen home and stuff like this, and she liked the post. And she is a media savvy person. She knows how all this works. And so I think she had to have known that was going to get some attention. And when she did that, I was like, oh, this is not just wishful thinking. That actually legitimized it. It's like, okay, Thielen wants this to happen. And so I think that this has a really good chance to happen. Just crazy. So welcome back, Caitlin Thielen. Welcome back, Adam, and the whole family.
I also think Carolina's making a mistake. I thought Adam Thielen was one of the reasons Bryce Young was able to overcome his early struggles last year, play really well down the stretch. The franchise, it's not a bad roster. And that entire franchise's future is dependent on getting Bryce Young up to being a top 12 quarterback in the NFL. And I think Thielen, and they have good young receivers, or at least talented young receivers. I think Thielen was a major factor there. If I were Carolina, I would not have traded him.
Yeah, I mean, and it was really interesting that they did it. Just given that when they, I think they waived Hunter Renfrow, just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, I was like, okay, they just aren't going to trade Adam Thielen. And maybe that was posturing on their part. Maybe they were trying to drive the price up a little bit more or whatnot. But when you look at sort of the receiver room around Bryce Young, and that gets to the point of, yes, this is kind of a feel-good story that the Minnesota boy is coming home and all of that, but he's still a productive receiver. He still has juice left to squeeze. And I think especially, do they need him to be a 17-game player and be a major factor in the offense for the entire season? No, but the Vikings need him to be a real factor early on while they await Addison's return, while they figure out what Naylor's injury is. And I do think that Bryce Young is going to miss him. They have some promising young receivers with the Panthers. I'm sure they feel good about that part of things. But when you look at essentially, again, getting a fourth rounder for him, and I know we all love our draft picks and all those things, but it just feels like they're going to miss him quite a bit here. And the Vikings are the beneficiary of that right now.
And as you said, this wasn't hard to figure out. They needed somebody, and the rumors had started that they would just go get KJ Osborne as a Band-Aid. This is more than a Band-Aid. And Thielen is still a very good player, and he's aging. You never know when it's going to be. The end can come suddenly for any NFL player, but what we saw last year, he still has hands. He can still get open in small spaces. He was never a burner. He always had enough speed, and enough athletic ability. He was never a burner. So it's not like losing half a step is devastating to him. And, hey, Felton's an interesting project. He's probably not ready yet. Tim Jones, I don't think you want to see him playing a lot early. I like Miles Price as a talent and a guy who can catch the ball, who can run after the catch and maybe help a lot on special teams, but he's probably not your, they needed somebody who, if Jefferson's doubled and Naylor's hand hurts or Naylor isn't up to speed, you can throw the ball to him on 3rd and 6, he's going to catch it. And that's Thielen to a T.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you have a young, and I really don't think we can undersell, Jim, that, or oversell, I should say. I don't think we can oversell that Thielen and JJ McCarthy worked out together this summer. He has caught passes from JJ McCarthy. They have had conversations. They have built a little bit of rapport. And so right now, what JJ McCarthy needs in these first several weeks, as he gets his legs underneath him and he becomes the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, he needs guys he can trust. And I think that when you bring Adam Thielen in here, someone who is going to know exactly where he has to be at all times, is going to be able to adjust when plays break down, has caught passes from JJ McCarthy, certainly at this stage of his career also knows exactly what a young quarterback needs and how to help him out with it. Like, all of those things are just exactly what the Vikings need in this situation. Would it have been great if Thielen was 29 and they were acquiring him? Of course, but then they would have had to pay a heck of a lot more money.
And he's a second round draft pick.
Exactly. But outside of him being just a little bit younger, like, it is impossible to think of a player who is even remotely available around the league that fits so much of what the Vikings need in this very kind of well-defined area here. And just, Thielen just checks so many of those boxes. And it is really just, outside of him being 35 years old and maybe there's an injury risk or something, it's just about as perfect as you can be. And so it's a home run deal by Kwesi. I really believe that we definitely can talk about, and he deserves scrutiny for the drafting record that he has so far. But in terms of free agency and trades, man, he's doing pretty well in those regards. And this is a team that is entering this season with designs on a deep playoff run. And to get to the deep playoffs, you need to start off quickly. And Adam Thielen is going to help give them a chance to start off quickly.
Let's a little more on that and Quezzy, but first, do want to tell you about Giggly THC beverages, GIGLI.com. Use a promo code Giggly North to get the first up to 50% off your first order. After that, if you follow them on their socials, you will find more deals. And it really isn't very expensive for what you're getting. You can go to any Quick Trip in Minnesota and find them. I just go to giggly.com and order. I like the cocktails. My wife likes the teas. We both like the seltzers. They've added some new seltzer flavors because the seltzers are selling so well. They've also added chocolates and gummies and all kinds of other stuff. Go check out the website. These people are very good at promoting their product, which is good because the product will probably help you in your life. It's been great to promote them because it's helped me in my life. I drink less alcohol. I sleep better. I feel better in the morning when I have one of these. Just the flavors are really good. The flavors look different when you read the label, but they all just taste like good, light cocktails. They're made of real fruit juice. They have ashwagandha and ginseng, which are great for you. They're relatively low calorie. And again, you're going to feel good in the morning. You get to a certain age and you care more about feeling good in the morning than you do feeling good at night. So giggly.com, check them out. Promo code Giggly North. Also want to tell you about OnX Hunt. Have you ever driven past a piece of land and wondered who owns that? Or maybe you need to know exactly where a property line runs. That's where OnX Hunt comes in, and it's not just for hunters. There are folks using OnX for their jobs every day throughout the country, from farmers and ranchers mapping out their fields, wildland firefighters navigating rough terrain, to construction workers needing to know who owns what property. This app offers something for everyone. If you need the best land ownership maps, aerial imagery, and property boundaries in your pocket, OnX Hunt is the tool for the job. Try it free for 7 days. Download OnX Hunt in the app or Google Play Store, or visit onxmaps.com/hunt to get started. The starting fast thing, it's always, anybody can say that about any team in any sport at any time. I think it actually pertains to this team because if they get off to a decent start, McCarthy's going to get better as he goes and he sees things for the first time live. If they start well, man, the season's really promising. If they start poorly, then J.J. McCarthy is beginning his true NFL career answering questions about why he's not winning games, and he's facing scrutiny. And I'm not saying it would crush him, but it wouldn't be ideal. So I really think, winning on Monday night Chicago could be very important for McCarthy. And I just don't know that in this division, the caliber of the teams in this division, if you can come back from a slow start and still win the division or be a top seed.
Yeah, I just think, this is not, groundbreaking analysis here, but it is worth discussing in that I think with a young quarterback coming off of an injury, trying to establish himself, the more success that can be had early, the better chance that he has of, who knows what's going to happen over the next 3-4 years. But at least if you want to prioritize making this season incredibly successful, being the Vikings and hitting the ground running, not needing maybe a quote unquote warm up year or whatever for JJ McCarthy to get settled into the position. If you want to go right now, the pathway forward to doing that is to build up some early season confidence in McCarthy and momentum and belief within the team in him. And so the way to do that is to surround him with as much talent as possible, with as many players who understand what he's going through and who can just lift him up. And I think that now you look at, with Thielen as sort of the possession receiver, the savvy guy in the red zone, the one who can wiggle open, who will catch every single thing that you throw at him. Then you have Jefferson as the best receiver in the entire league. You have Hawkinson, who has looked really, really good in training camp and in the preseason. Maybe he's returning to form. Then you have Jones and Mason. You have an improved offensive line. You have all of these things that are coming together to give JJ McCarthy the best opportunity to hit the ground running. And I do feel like McCarthy is the kind of player that if he does pick up a couple of wins early, if he has a couple of good games early, and if he feels comfortable, all of that natural talent that he does have, which I think is considerable, is only going to start flowing out even more. And so, it's all setting up now for the Vikings to have a very good season. And when you look at one of their greatest needs is defensive back and receiver, and they got the main receiver that they wanted. We'll see what they do with the defensive backs, kind of going forward the rest of today, the rest of this week as they prepare. But that fast start and getting McCarthy rolling early could really kind of turn the Vikings into a freight train if they're able to get that confidence settled in with him.
Kwesi has done very well with veteran free agent signings. He's done very well with trades. He's put together a really remarkable roster. And this is another reminder of one of the many reasons they were willing to move away from Cousins and take a chance that they would or would not get the quarterback they wanted in the next draft. Because when you have a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, it gives you salary cap space. So they've been able to build a great veteran team around McCarthy. Whereas if Kirk Cousins is their quarterback, then they're having to cut back at some other place.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is also a good opportunity right here to talk about the Wilfs as well, because they have done a really good job with the salary cap. As you said, with McCarthy having the lower salary, that opens things up flexibility wise for them. But you also have to look at, Kevin Seifert was discussing this on Twitter this morning a little bit, and even yesterday, in terms of looking at how the roster is built and the possibilities of adding to this roster going forward. Yes, they have a lot of salary cap space. I think before adding Thielen, they had somewhere around $30 million in space for this season, but they are spending, I think they have spent like $350 million in actual cash this year to sign their free agents, to extend players, with the current salary structure of this roster. So they're putting a ton of resources into this team. And so when I haven't seen the exact financial breakdown of what adding Thielen adds to the books in terms of financial implications, but I can tell you it's a heck of a lot more than if it would have been KJ Osborne or some of these others. So this is the Wilf family also saying, we believe that this team is ready to win and win big, and we are going to spend the money to do it in a town where the Pohlads have abdicated their responsibilities. To see the Wilfs come through this way, like that's got to be refreshing for Minnesota sports fans in general.
I also think, I will say this, and I'm not defending the Pohlads, but the NFL is such a financial dynamo. The owners make so much money. The stadium deal is so good. They've been able to build an empire around having that money from the stadium and having all the profits from the NFL. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would really be an abdication if an NFL owner didn't spend money in a salary cap league where there's a floor and a ceiling. And I mean, it's all there for them. It's set up the way it should be set up.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I mean, certainly, with the revenue sharing, with the way that the national TV deals go, with all of those things, the Wilfs are at an advantage. There is no question about that. I still think that, the Pohlad sort of like punting after 2023 was not a good look, and certainly they have the fans at their throats right now for it. But the Wilfs, whatever you want to say about the lack of Super Bowl so far, things like that under their tenure, what you know is that they are using the massive revenues that they are creating with the Vikings and reinvesting them into the team, whether it is with the payroll, whether it's the stadium, which they did put money into, whether it's the practice facilities, all these things. Like they're spending money. And yes, it is easier and it is a wealthier proposition to own an NFL franchise over a Major League Baseball franchise, especially in, a middle market like the Twin Cities. But they are giving more than you could ask for in terms of being aggressive financially to try and, make whatever moves they have to make to put the best team on the field.
For me, they're giving exactly what I would ask for. But yes, they are spending money and they have run a good organization. Let's get to other roster decisions, including Brosmer and Blackman. I want to tell you about Twill in the Dining Galleria. I'm going to a destination wedding, my daughter's, this weekend. Everything I'm packing, I bought at Twill. The nice suits, the bow tie for my tux, the swimsuit, the nice shoes, the casual shoes, the socks, everything I'm bringing, I bought at Twill. Full service. You walk in there, it's a cozy place, friendly, fast service, incredibly knowledgeable salespeople this is their specialty. They're not moonlighting from some other job. They didn't just sell tires last week. But it's just a great experience. And everything I bought from Twill, I still own. And everything I'm taking this weekend, I bought at Twill. Check out twillmn.com. Sign up for their email updates. They'll only email you when they have a special event, like this summer's 40% off sale. They don't have many sales, so you should know about it when it happens. Stop in, talk to Scott Dayton, the owner, the longtime supporter of TalkNorth.com. He's a big sports fan. He loves talking sports. He's one of us. He's a local guy, and he's a great guy. And they will take not only good care of you, they will take good care of you very quickly if you stop in at Twill in the Dining Galleria. Now, here's Talk North star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
All right, on to the rest of the roster. They did keep Max Brosmer. They did keep him on the 53-man roster, which is really a major vote of confidence because the easy thing to do this time of the year is to not keep 3 quarterbacks on your main roster. So you have that extra position for special teams or depth or whatever else. Deciding to keep Max Brosmer when you think you are contending for something is a major vote of confidence. I'm less high on Carson Wentz. He was out of the league for a reason. Very good quarterbacks coaches, very good organizations did not want him around. So I think they botched it with Howell. They pivoted well by getting value for Howell, but I think they misevaluated Howell. That was a mistake. They overevaluated Rippon, and they got stuck with Carson Wentz, who I do not think is, listen, I know a lot of people around the NFL. I know a lot of people who cover the NFL. I just have not heard good things about this guy.
Yeah, I think that the biggest certainly concern about Carson Wentz is it seems much more personality related,
Yes.
With how he's done things throughout his career than skill related or talent related. For sure. And so I don't know, if you want to be an optimist, you could say, well, maybe at this stage of his career, he's 32. He was out of the league. Does he get a little bit of a humbling and come in with a little different attitude? It's possible. But that also could be a reach as well. Sorry. And so what we look at, when you look at Carson Wentz is, I think that the best way to describe it is, you're right. Like, they were in a tough spot given that Sam Howell didn't work out. And even as well as Max Brosmer has looked, it's not a scenario, I don't think, where you want to go into a season with a second-year quarterback who did not play at all last year and an undrafted rookie free agent quarterback on your roster as the two main guys. Wentz has done it in the past, and he's coming into a culture with Kevin O'Connell that maybe you can bring a little different side out of him. But yeah, it's certainly not anything that enamors me. Was I enamored with Case Keenum when he came in here? No, I wasn't. And that all worked out. But, I think by and large, I look at backup quarterbacks as if you have to go to them for an extended period of time, generally you're sunk anyway. So at least with Wentz, he's young enough still to maybe give you some physical ability. I just think they got put in a tough spot when Daniel Jones decided to go elsewhere. And when, kind of some of their other options dried up. And so this is a situation where it's sort of maybe the least bad option that is available to them. And if they have to go to him, I think things are already off the rails. And so the hope is that he just sits on the sideline and stays quiet, and you don't have to really worry about him all season long.
And it would be interesting. Let's face it would be a fascinating experiment if he has to play and we see what O'Connell does with him, because he's a great physical talent. He did play great as a rookie before he got hurt. He was on his way to being an MVP. There is something to work with there. If he had the right attitude, this could be it could be Sam Darnold with maybe even more talent.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, he's done it at a really high level. Previously with the Eagles early in his career, I mean, you're talking about, a guy who threw 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in his second season. And he can also run the ball, big, strong guy that way. Though I guess when you look at it, he spent 2024 with the Chiefs, 2023 with the Rams. And so he's been now the last two places he's been as a backup. It's similar to Darnold in a way of maybe that allowed him to be in good organizations, be around good coaches and good players. And maybe that gives him a little bit more of a perspective, and maybe he would be in a position for Kevin O'Connell to get more out of him, similar to what he got out of Sam Darnold. I guess I will be interested to kind of chart or follow along in the season. We talked a lot about Adam Thielen coming into a system that he already knows. And Wentz has had similarities with the Rams and things, but this is different for him. So would he be, how long will it take for him to get up to speed? And it would be a case of, if you have to go to Carson Wentz, you're definitely leaning a heck of a lot on O'Connell to get him through it, like he did Josh Dobbs, like he's done, with Darnold. Like you give him the benefit of the doubt for sure. But it's going to be a big transition for him. Maybe these last 2 years, Rams, Chiefs, and then being kind of on the outside looking in of the NFL opens his eyes a little bit, and he comes in with a good attitude and settles in and doesn't rock the boat. That's all you can hope for, I think.
Yes. Last topic for today's show. They trade Mekhi Blackmon, which is basically them saying, because when they traded him, what they traded him for, basically they were going to cut him and they got something for him. That's a good pivot. He did not pan out. I think it's mostly injury related. I think he's a good young player. He just didn't have quite the same juice after the injury. And it leaves the Vikings in another intriguing position. They have 3 veteran corners. They have McLaughlin as their young corner, and they might need somebody else. They could theoretically get by with what they have now, but they're relatively thin. This is another spot where you could see them, and we're talking here on Wednesday morning. The Vikings are probably going to be making moves the next 5 days. You could see them going out and getting another corner, whether it's veteran free agency, whether it's waivers, whether it's a minor trade.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to happen. I don't think it's a hope. It's a must at this point, Jim. I mean, one of the good things that Kwesi has done here with this Thielen deal, in terms of what he got back in return as well, it keeps the cupboard stocked a little bit for him to look at other trade options, or certainly comb in the waiver wire. But they have to find a cornerback, I think, because the Blackmon thing did not work out. They're way too thin there, and It is the glaring weakness of this team heading into the regular season is at cornerback. And I think that when you look at trying to look at the chessboard and examine what Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah might be thinking, what Kevin O'Connell might be thinking about things, I just don't see how you trade Mekhi Blackmon if you don't really believe you have some sort of avenue to a player to come in and replace him. Even if, that he was showing some signs of struggle and you'd have trouble trusting him, he's still a body. He's still someone who is familiar with the system, and you could, lean on him in just a pinch in an emergency if you absolutely need him. But them moving him out tells me that they're going to add another corner here. It's just too important of a position right now for them.
Yep, agreed. I think we'll have more news to talk about. Next week, we'll do our season preview. There will be more roster stuff to talk about. We'll also take the bigger picture view of where this team is. It's going to be a fascinating season. So check out the John Krawczynski show as well. We'll also put that show on YouTube. Check out all of our football stuff. We have Jeff Diamond, the former Vikings general manager, does a show. Alec Lewis, John's colleague at The Athletic, does a really good show and does it multiple times a week. Lots of interviews as well as analysis. We also have Randy Shaver doing a fantasy football show with Kevin Gorg, Randy Shaver's high school football show. Don Mitchell's show. One of our upcoming topics is Ben Williams, the former Vikings nose tackle, tells some great stories about John Randall. Also has some really important life stuff to talk about. We just have a lot of good stuff at TalkNorth.com. We appreciate you listening. Please check it all out. When you find a show you like, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. For today, John, you have a final thought on anything?
Yeah, I'm just I guess I will say I may sound a little bit, I can't basic or whatever, but I think the Thielen trade makes me even more intrigued about what this season can be. I don't want to put too much pressure on his shoulders, but I just think that being able to pull this deal off and get him in here and make it happen just really sets the table for a lot of excitement as we get prepared for the Monday night in Chicago. I think that what you're seeing right now is this organization operating as if this team is ready to win at a very high level. And I don't know, we'll see how all that happens, but a team like this does not make a move like this unless they think they are really, really close. And that's what clearly this Vikings team does think. And it's going to be fun to watch and see how it all unfolds here.
Which also is another indication they're very high in McCarthy and that they think he can win this year. So it's going to be fascinating. Thanks to everyone who listens. We do appreciate it. Check out the John Krawczynski show. Check out everything at TalkNorth.com, and we'll talk to you next week.